Have you ever noticed how life seems to move faster the harder you try to control it? The more you push, the more it pushes back. You wake up with a plan, a goal, a vision of how things should go, but then the world decides otherwise. It's frustrating, isn't it? That feeling of doing everything right and still watching things fall apart. You try harder, you chase more, you force progress, and yet somehow it feels like the more you grip, the more it slips away. Maybe it's not your effort that's the problem. Maybe it's the forcing. Because when we force something, a plan, a relationship, a dream, we stop listening to the natural rhythm of life. We lose the quiet wisdom that tells us when to move and when to wait. It's not weakness to step back, it's strength. It's awareness, it's trust. Trust that life, as unpredictable as it is, often knows more than your anxious thoughts do. Think about it. Some of the most powerful moments in your life didn't come from control, they came from surrender. The friendship you didn't plan that changed your world. The opportunity that appeared when you finally let go of desperation. The peace you found not by fighting, but by breathing. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. And alignment only happens when you stop forcing what isn't ready. We've been taught that success comes from constant effort, from never stopping, never giving in, never pausing. But that's a half-truth. Real growth doesn't come from endless motion. It comes from intelligent patience, from doing your best, and then allowing the universe time and circumstance to do theirs. Every seed planted needs darkness before it breaks through the soil. Every storm clears before the sky returns to blue. You can't rush these cycles, and when you try, you only end up breaking what could have bloomed naturally. Right now, maybe you're in a season where things feel stuck, where no matter how hard you try, nothing seems to move. You might be questioning your worth, your timing, even your purpose. But what if this pause isn't punishment? What if it's preparation? What if the stillness you hate is actually the space life is using to rearrange the pieces for something better? You can't see it yet because you're in the middle of it. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. So take a breath. Let your shoulders drop. You don't have to prove yourself every second of every day. You don't have to chase what's meant for you. What's truly yours won't need to be forced. It will flow toward you when you're ready to hold it. And when that moment comes, you'll realize the waiting wasn't wasted time. It was the quiet building of strength, perspective, and patience. Stay with this message, because what's coming next will shift how you see every struggle, every delay, and every moment you thought was failure. You'll see that letting go isn't giving up. It's unlocking the path you were always meant to walk. The truth is, forcing things often comes from fear. Fear that if we don't act fast enough, we'll miss our chance. Fear that if we pause, we'll fall behind. Fear that if we don't push, everything we've worked for will slip away. But fear doesn't create flow, it creates resistance. It blinds you to timing, to intuition, to the quiet signs life keeps showing you. When you're driven by fear, you mistake movement for progress. You chase noise instead of purpose. You act out of panic instead of power. And that's when you lose your alignment. Not because you're weak, but because you stop trusting your own rhythm. Every person who has ever found real peace, real success, real happiness, they learned one lesson the hard way: forcing doesn't speed things up. It slows them down. Because what you resist persists. When you push too hard, you're telling life you don't believe in its timing. You're trying to be the sun and the seed at once. But creation doesn't work that way. The process needs both effort and surrender, movement and stillness. Intention and patience, that's balance, that's mastery. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you keep showing up, but without desperation. You keep doing your part, but without demanding the outcome. Because deep down, you know something powerful. That what's right for you will recognize you too. The opportunities, the people, the moments meant for you will fit naturally. They'll feel lighter, smoother, real. They won't require you to lose yourself trying to make them stay. Think of all the times you tried to control every detail. How much energy it took, how much peace it stole. The overthinking, the second-guessing, the constant anxiety of wondering if you're doing enough. You carry that tension like armor, but it only weighs you down. You don't need to fight the current. You need to learn how to float with it. Floating doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that the river knows where it's going. Psychologists call this psychological flexibility, the ability to adapt, to move with life instead of against it. Research shows that people who develop this mindset are not only more resilient but also more successful in the long run. Because when you're flexible, you're free. You stop being trapped by what should happen and start opening to what can happen. You stop seeing obstacles as failures and start seeing them as redirections. That's how life quietly guides you toward what truly aligns. And maybe that's what you need right now. Not more effort, but more trust. To remind yourself that you are not behind, you are not late, you are not missing out. You are unfolding, you are becoming. You are learning to meet life where it is instead of fighting to drag it somewhere else. This is strength. The kind of strength that doesn't roar but breathes, that doesn't demand but allows. You're allowed to rest without guilt. You're allowed to wait without worry. You're allowed to believe that even when nothing seems to move, something within you still is. Because progress doesn't always look like motion. Sometimes it looks like stillness, sometimes it looks like faith. And that faith, quiet, steady, unshakable, is what carries you through the moments when forcing stops working and trusting becomes the only way forward. The moment you stop forcing, you start hearing what life has been trying to tell you all along. You begin to sense the quiet pull toward what truly matters. You start noticing how the things meant for you have a different kind of energy. They don't drain you, they expand you. They don't confuse you, they calm you. And it's in that calm that clarity begins to rise. You realize that peace isn't something you find when everything is perfect. It's something you create by no longer fighting what is. You've spent so long trying to fix, to chase, to make things happen faster. But what if the waiting was never a delay? What if it was a lesson? A lesson teaching you how to trust yourself when nothing is certain. Teaching you how to find peace in uncertainty. Teaching you how to stop measuring your worth by how quickly things fall into place. Because the truth is, life doesn't reward force. It rewards faith. It rewards patience. It rewards those who keep showing up, but don't lose themselves in the process. You've probably heard people say, trust the process. But few truly understand what that means. It doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means doing your part with presence, and then letting life do the rest. It means knowing when to act and when to pause, when to speak and when silence is the answer, when to push and when to simply breathe. This is the dance of balance, the harmony between intention and surrender. It's not easy, but it's powerful, because once you stop forcing, you stop living in resistance, and resistance is what creates pain. You resist because you fear losing control, but that fear only builds more walls. The more you resist, the smaller your world becomes. But when you let go, truly let go, those walls begin to form. You start to see how much possibility has always surrounded you. Opportunities you couldn't notice before begin to appear, because your mind is no longer trapped in tension. Your focus shifts from fear to flow. And flow is where your strength, creativity, and intuition live. Flow happens when you're not fighting against life. It's when you're so aligned with what you're doing that time disappears. You move effortlessly. Decisions feel lighter. Energy feels abundant. Psychologists call this the flow state, a condition where action and awareness merge. It's not something you force. It's something you allow. It's what happens when you stop trying to control every outcome and start engaging fully with the present moment. That's where true power is, not in control, but in connection. So take this moment to release what's weighing you down, the constant pressure to be somewhere else, someone else, doing something more. Let it go. You are allowed to breathe here. You are allowed to be in this space without proving anything to anyone, not even to yourself. You are not defined by how fast you get there. You are defined by how deeply you live where you are. When you stop forcing, you create room for grace. And grace is what transforms effort into ease, struggle into strength, and fear into faith. It's what reminds you that even when nothing seems to go your way, life is still working quietly in your favor. You don't have to chase it. You just have to be ready when it arrives. When you finally stop forcing, something shifts deep inside you. The tension that's been running your life begins to dissolve. You stop living from a place of scarcity and start living from a place of trust. You begin to understand that everything that's meant for you is not running away. It's aligning with your readiness. You don't need to chase it. You just need to rise to meet it, and when you do, you'll realize that nothing you thought you lost was ever truly gone. It was simply waiting for the version of you that could hold it without fear. This is where transformation begins. Not in control, but in surrender. When you stop trying to force outcomes, you give yourself permission to grow beyond them. You stop asking, "Why isn't it happening yet?" and start asking, "What is this moment trying to teach me?" That question alone changes everything. It turns every delay into guidance, every closed door into direction, every disappointment into an invitation to expand. You stop seeing life as something happening to you and start seeing it as something happening for you. Psychology calls this a growth mindset. It's the belief that even in uncertainty you're still evolving. It's the mindset that separates those who crumble under pressure from those who rise through it. Because when you believe every moment has purpose, even the painful ones, you stop forcing life to fit your expectations. Instead, you open to what it's trying to reveal. That's how peace enters. That's how wisdom grows. That's how resilience is built. Quietly, steadily, through the space you once tried so hard to fill. Every time you let go of what's not flowing, you make room for what will. You free your energy from the constant strain of control and redirect it into creation. You start attracting instead of chasing. You stop seeking validation and start embodying confidence. You move from pressure to presence, from noise to clarity. You begin to feel lighter because you finally understand that life isn't something to conquer. It's something to cooperate with. You are not meant to force your way through it. You are meant to move with it. This doesn't mean you stop working for what you want. It means you stop fighting yourself while doing it. You still show up, you still give your best, but your energy changes. Your actions come from peace, not panic, from confidence, not fear. And that shift changes everything around you, your decisions, your relationships, your results. Because when your energy changes, your world does too. So if you're tired of forcing, take this as your sign to release. To trust the pauses, the detours, the slow chapters that feel empty but are actually sacred. They're where your roots grow deeper, they're where strength builds, silently. They're where life prepares you for what's next. You may not see it now, but every calm before a breakthrough feels like stillness. And that's how it's meant to feel. Let this truth settle into you. Nothing that's truly yours will ever need to be forced. The people meant for you will stay. The opportunities aligned with you will appear. The life meant for you will unfold naturally when you stop chasing and start trusting. You are not falling behind, you are simply aligning with timing bigger than your own. And when that timing arrives, you'll understand why forcing never worked. Because what was meant for you was always waiting for your peace, not your pressure. There comes a moment when you realize that peace is not found by doing more, but by releasing what was never meant to be controlled. That's when everything begins to make sense. The rejections, the delays, the endings that once broke you. You start to see how each of them was quietly protecting your path. Life wasn't denying you, it was redirecting you, and every detour was shaping the patience, strength, and clarity you now carry. You were being held back, you were being built. When you stop forcing, you create space for awareness. Awareness of who you truly are beneath the noise. You begin to notice how much energy you've spent chasing things that never felt right. You remember what calm feels like. You start hearing your intuition again, that inner voice that had been drowned out by the constant need to control. It speaks softly, but it always knows. It tells you when to move and when to wait. It reminds you that sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is not to act, but to trust. Trust is powerful because it shifts your entire relationship with life. It removes the illusion that you must have everything figured out. You realize you don't need certainty to move forward. You just need faith in your ability to handle what comes. That's freedom. That's real confidence. The kind that doesn't come from perfect plans, but from deep acceptance. You learn to stop asking for life to go your way, and start asking for the strength to flow with it. And when you do, you find something even greater than control, peace in the unknown. This peace doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop suffering over what's not in your hands.